listening to Three Quirks and a Turk at 89.3 FM.
This is my station.
Action.
It's just insane and I love it.
Entertainment.
Hey guys, it's Selena Gomez.
Hey, this is Ed Sheeran.
Hey guys, it's Taylor Swift.
Entrepreneurs.
You need to learn this business, and this is the time to do it.
And empowerment.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get in the game.
It's Friday.
I can't believe that it's Freaky Friday.
YB Moody, shake that booty and tune in to the voice of the continent.
YB Moody, you are tuning in with the Three Quirks and a Turk at 89.3 FM. Are we having a dress party today, Darren? Or what are we doing today,
The girls
mate?
have given us a makeover.
Yeah, you look like a cyberpunk Darren. And here I am, Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, ahoy there, matey. Welcome to the Three Quirks and a Turk. And we have these two lovely ladies that's joining us today. First, on the right-hand side, introduce yourself and where you're from.
I'm Carrie
Carrie?
Benedet from Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Are you sure? Because you look like you're from UK somewhere with the pink, ribbon, feathers on you.
No, I've got a feather boa on. Listen,
Yes.
he doesn't know purple from pink, but anyway.
Oh, sure.
No.
I'm colourblind.
English-Irish background.
Oh, really?
Yes, but
Ah.
the greatest thing I did was marry a Northern Italian. Fantastic.
Oh, bloody Italiano.
Intercultural family relations.
Italiano.
Fantastic.
So tell me, what is the best part? Is it the Italiano or is it from your other side, the island? Is it Irish, did you say?
English-Irish.
Irish-English.
Oh, look, I don't want to be disparaging, but I've got to say there's something about the Italian familia that is fantastic.
Okay.
But where they live from the northern Italy is where Garibaldi and Mussolini used to take their summer holidays. So you look out the windows and you see the Dolomites.
Oh, yes.
45 minutes from Venice.
Love it.
Oh,
love
my
it.
gosh.
So tell me a bit about your love life. How did you meet this person? Was this like on a cruise? Was it a nightclub? You saw the guy, you ran over and just whacked it on his lips and take him home.
Pasta? What
So
was it?
share with us, Carrie. Since we're going to have fun, let's share with us then.
Well, that's one question I didn't expect to get today. Anyway, well, I met Luch. He's Luciano, and his
Luciano.
mother says it so beautifully.
Yeah.
But I met him as Luch. So
Okay.
So I met him at, would you believe, a youth weekend, a Christian youth weekend, many years ago,
Really?
and it was basically at
Love at first sight?
Like a long weekend, one of those weekends away where everyone got up to tricks.
see.
But we were in the Blue Mountains, and it was lovely. So
you two were sucking faces instead of doing some work, right? In the bush somewhere, right?
So, we went out for about 3 years, finished our uni, and then got married and started having babies straight away.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us about your superpower. So you're here today to share your superpower. And what is it that you do, Carrie?
Bit of a rebel, I think.
I love rebel.
A rebel with a cause.
Rebel is never with a cause.
No.
They always have issues, I reckon, these people with rebels.
Definitely. No, I really love this notion of strong leadership for the world.
Okay.
So I work in education and I bring together well-being and leadership together because you can't lead if you're not looking after yourself.
So true.
All that. So I do that. I'm a general sticky beak and busybody.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I've turned... When I say a rebel,
Yeah.
I've done a whole lot of stuff in the last 6 years that probably shouldn't have happened in the way it did, but it has. So we've had a great deal of fun.
So did you say you're in education?
Yes.
You come across like a principal to me. Like, you remind me of my old principal. Like,
No.
It'd be a fun principle.
A fun principal.
It'd be a fun one.
It'd be like a dress up every Friday,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. I'm a girl that brings the boas and the hats and
Love
makes
it.
sure that we all have a dance, of which
Love
we were
it.
doing, and great music playlist, by the way.
So tell me though, when you say leadership, does that equate to male and female? Do you believe in quota and all that? Because this is the biggest issue at the moment.
No, I believe in best person for the job
Love
and
that.
opportunities to develop, to have a second chance to
Yes.
really be looked after. You don't set up people to fail.
No.
You set them up to
Correct.
succeed and support. So,
Yes.
yeah, we've got everything I talk about is around this notion of thriving.
Love that.
So that goes into your well-being. Some people like to call it flourishing,
Okay.
or wellness, but generally it's about thriving. And some days that's a bit hard.
So we're going to be thriving with you today with
will.
leadership, education and all that. I reckon,
Yeah,
bloody.
flick your
I'm
hair
flicking
back.
my hair back there a little bit,
not
as
easy
a
being a
pirate would
long-haired
do.
pirate.
Ahoy there, matey. Now, Jane Turner, it's a small world. You were here a few years ago, and you're back with us again.
Yeah,
How do you feel? How do you feel being back here with the Quirks?
Well, I'm loving the vibe.
You loving the vibes?
I'm loving the vibe. I don't know if I can match
Yes.
Carrie, though, in terms of romantic stories and
No?
and such, but it's great to be back.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. And what's your costume today?
Did you fall in love in any retreats in Blue Mountain?
No, look, a very sort of story-worthy meeting of my husband at the old CES, Commonwealth Employment Service.
Oh.
Does anyone remember that?
Yes.
Commonwealth.
We both worked in this particular, it was the inner city, so one of the coolest CESs, I would say. But he won my heart.
Did he?
When I was living in a group house at the time. In those
Did you say
days
groupie or group house?
Group house.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I had my groupies there.
I
of
bet
course,
you did.
and of course, one night, all of my records were stolen.
Oh, no.
And I had a massive record collection,
Yes.
and man in question brought in some Elvis Costello records.
Oh, that was it.
That was it.
Love
No,
it. Elvis Costello.
That's right. Yeah, it did it.
What about
So-
Elvis Presley? Were you a big fan of Elvis Presley back then?
No, I'm not quite that old.
No?
But,
I never say you were.
not that young either, frankly. But the Costello version works better for me.
I never say you were old, Jane. I never say you were old. So tell me, what's your superhero? Like in terms of what you do these days?
Well, my superpower is words.
Yeah.
And pulling them together in a way that turn into a book.
Yes, I
somewhat,
like that.
easily in the scheme of things. But yeah, I'm all about books. I'm launching my 5th book at Glee Books on the 19th of July, just to give that a bit of a plug.
Right.
And 3 of my authors are launching their books at the same time.
So you've got 5 books under your belt, right?
Yeah.
So where's the inspiration come from? Besides the groupie stuff, where do you get the inspiration to come from to actually write these amazing books?
It seems to be when something really, I can't swear. So if I was to say a word starting with P and it's got 3 other letters after it.
You mean piss.
Off, yeah. When I get pissed off, I tend to write a book about it. So
do you?
Interestingly, I have a background in the public service. I already mentioned the CES.
Correct.
My last 15 years were with the Powerhouse Museum.
Oh, wow.
And I was made redundant. And that was at a time when it wasn't so easy to get a job at that age as a woman.
Yes.
So this is 10 years ago now. But I had started writing a book a little bit before that. And that book was about, dealing with menopause.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't know how you feel. We don't go through that, do we, Darren? I know Darren might, but I don't.
I've lost all my hair. Maybe I've gone through it already.
Yeah. It's a good sign. That's a sign of it.
Yes.
Anyhow, so that book came out,
Yes.
and that really rehabilitated the broken public servant in me.
I see.
And that then, led to me starting a business, helping other people to write books. And, I then wrote another book in the same sort of space of that midlife space, and it was all about, weight loss in midlife was what that one was called.
So do you encourage people when they go through a midlife crisis to sit down and write a book?
Why not, though?
Why not?
Is
You think
what I
so?
say. I mean, you find your therapy wherever you find it, frankly. But
Isn't it hard work? Like writing it. When I think of writing a book, I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got to get up at 4 o'clock and do so many 100 pages or so many 100 words every morning.
Well,
it's like a chore.
I tell you what, nowadays, of course, we've got some tools that can help us with that. But by the same token, that's where I come in. I only have a business because other people can't see their way through doing it. So, oftentimes I'm sort of tantamount to ghostwriting their books. But other times I'm working with Carrie at the moment. She did a great compilation book. All of her leaders got an opportunity to share their story through the book that she pulled together. So,
That's awesome.
I love that.
What's the name of your book, Carrie?
We publish Global Matters. So inspiring stories from leaders and influencers across business, culture and education. And that was in 2023 at the State Library, New South Wales with Jane. And it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. It's a great way to start off your writing. So you only have to do a chapter.
Yeah.
And so Jane was sort of the coach on the calls. We had Zooms that we got everyone together. The authors got to know each other and finesse their stories, and a number of them have gone on to write other books. So it was a great collaboration.
We're surrounded by intellect here, Darren. I feel so embarrassed. I feel inferior with these two ladies here, you know. We might put them in their place, though. But tell me something, though, right?
Try.
I'll get there. But tell me something, though. These days, in the world of digital, is there still a demand for people to sit down and read a book? Because I know back then I would actually spend my weekend underneath an apple tree, read a book. These days, everyone's on a bloody phone. So is there a demand for it still?
There still is a huge demand, and not only the physical books, but of course the e-books. But just to share with you, I don't read books per se.
Yeah.
I listen to them through Audible.
I was always a terrible reader.
Yeah.
It took me an hour to read 10 pages, and then I forgot what I read. Yeah. But an audiobook I can read in one weekend.
Hang on, you don't read audiobook, you listen to audiobook.
I can listen to an audiobook in one weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
What you're doing is you're getting the same hit. You know, you're getting that, whether it's information, whether it's the story you're into, you're getting that. So all of these different ways of doing it. But books, they will never die.
Okay, that's good.
I'm going to put my sort of hand on the table there, and I won't bang it. But
you won't bang it?
They're not going anywhere.
All right.
But some people like the physical aspect of it. Even with the paper, same thing.
Yeah.
They want to actually read the paper.
Yeah.
They don't want to just read it from a screen.
Yeah, no,
and
that's
I have my favourite audio books in the paper form as well. And sometimes I've got it and I've got the pen and I'm sort of marking the parts that I want to go back to. So it's an interesting world that I've found myself in, and so many interesting people I get to collaborate with. It's
Love
incredible.
that. So hopefully we can piss Jane off today, and she's going to go write a book about us, the Three Quirks and Turk. Let's get a song on. You're tuning in with Three Quirks and Turk. You're tuning in with the Three Quirks and Turk at 89.3 FM. What a fabulous Friday so far we're having. We're having fun in the studio.
It's Dress Up Friday.
Dress Up Friday. Can I say you look like a Barbie girl from Hawaii?
I've always wanted to be a Barbie girl.
A Barbie girl, right? Yeah, that's right. So now we're going to get our guests to introduce the next segment and our tagline. What I'm going to say is 89.3 FM. And then you ladies can look at the camera and you say, why be moody when you can shake your booty? Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, and ready. It's Friday.
Hey, it's why be moody?
Why be moody when you can shake your booty?
Come on, girls. I want you to look at the camera and shake your booty. Have fun a little bit, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's Friday.
Why be moody when you can shake your booty?
Thank you so much. Having fun there, ladies? Are you having fun?
Always.
Always having fun? Now, Carrie, see, it's interesting what you said before about legacy, and this is something that's always been on my mind for the last couple of years, and that's called corporate responsibility and corporate social responsibility. And what I find interesting is that a lot of corporate these days are in it for the money, right? And they do things for the money, but when it comes down to it these days, I feel that a lot of people are losing that human touch. So you deal with a lot of leaders in your kind of work. You talk to a lot of people, you interview a lot of people. What would be your advice for future leaders on corporate responsibilities and leaving a legacy?
Look after your people.
Oh, that's short and sweet. In what way?
Everyone needs to know they're valued, that they have a purpose, and they have an impact, but they also want opportunity to develop, and they need to feel that they can do that in a safe environment. So all around the globe, we've got massive amount of change. We've got AI that's scaring people into thinking that a lot of their jobs are going to be taken. Yeah. And so for me, the personal element still is not going to
be taken. It won't be taken by robots.
It'll be there, will be different. So let's be informed around the AI and the technology. Yeah. Let's look at how we look at our own well-being and our own how we lead ourselves. Yeah. But the corporates, there are many examples of change. Some are slower than others. But what I'm hearing and knowing is that many of our education leaders are thirsty. They're just thirsty for new opportunities, for different ways. Our kids, they know, are learning despite going to school. They're learning on their devices.
That's right.
Okay.
And we talked a little bit about books before.
Yes.
Well, I just watched a 1-year-old grandchild just love being read to about Vincent Langari the other night. And all our kids, we live in a house of books.
Yeah.
And they get books as presents. Now, I think knowledge we can grab anywhere now.
Yeah.
We have to be careful about the source, but we need the skills, the critical thinking skills to decipher, to synthesise, all those things. But people, they want to actually trust themselves. They need to know themselves and trust them. So corporates need to tap into that.
So your tribe, tell us about your tribe. Are they crazy? Are they lunatics? They're fun? They're book readers? What are your tribe? What do they look like?
They look like licorice all sorts. That's what my tribe.
Yeah.
We have 4 beautiful licorice all sorts. Three boys and 1 daughter, and they've given us 8 little Australians. Yes, 8 little Australians. Is that what I said before?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And maybe 9. I'm not sure. Not at the moment, but in the future, right? But that's something to really work towards. So I'm in the last age-rich part of my life, and I look down and I go, what is it they're going to remember? So my husband's a nonal. I'm a Carrie Ma, and it's just beautiful when they run through the door and hug your knees and tell you that they love you, because
amazing, isn't it?
the love and the care that you have in a family, that can radiate out.
That's correct.
And anyone I work with, I look at them like stars sort of flashing in a constellation. When you look up at the Milky Way at night time, think of that as the world. And every one of us can flash at different intensities at different times, but we all make a contribution.
Yeah, that's
What is it that you try and teach them, those 8 or 9 little licorice all-stars?
They, well, number one, they sit at the bar and they watch me cook. I'm a home economics teacher, so I'm a pretty good cook.
Wow.
Pretty good. Give me 100 people, not a problem.
Wow.
Okay.
So they watch me cook. But they also come and sit, and we do some great little breathing exercises if they've had a little tantrum or they haven't liked what they have to do.
Nice.
So we do a little hand meditation. We write letters, we play. I'm happy to play anything. They get in the pool. We're very fortunate.
But when you're saying
simple things,
but this is something it's very different, and I'm hearing this, right? So it sounds to me like your family is very normal, whereas a lot of things these days, kids are on a bloody phone. A lot of parents are struggling on dinner, family time. They're on the phone. So how would you, or your advice to young family out there who are listening to this, to teach their kids to get off the bloody phone, get off the social media, and bond with the family, that connection?
Well, everywhere we go, there are rules or there are ways of behaving together, and we can set those up. As parents, you can do that. You can actually do that in a family meeting. I don't know if you ever experienced those as you were growing up.
Yes.
Family meeting. Last one to the table gets the washing to do or the worst jobs, right? You get round. But I just think, on the whole, there's an expectation that you can have around, if you live here, if you come here, these are
the rules.
You look after our possessions, you look after your possessions.
Yeah.
If we're all together, it's no screen time.
I
right?
like that.
Put it down.
Yes.
So there's ways you can make it happen.
Okay, I love that. I love that. We should get you a position in Parliament House, like pass some policies so that parents can do that. Because these days I just feel like kids have lost the touch. They don't listen to the mum and dad. They're on social media day in, day out. And no wonder why the kids in the next generation are depressed, anxiety and all that. So Jane, you do a lot of books. You love reading. You're an author. You also you recommend people to put their ideas in writing. You also offer the ghost writing service. I haven't heard of that. Explain to us and our listeners out there who are actually wanting to write their life or put their life onto a book. What does ghost service mean?
Oh, well, the ghost writing part of it is that I would interview that person. Get a good handle on what they want to say, what they stand for, and how they want to be represented, and then I will write that. Of course, that goes back to them, and they'll go, "Oh no, you got that all wrong," or this, I want to say more about this now, because actually, just that, and whether the person is writing their own book or I'm, virtually ghostwriting it or somewhere in between. Usually, it's the somewhere in between part where I work. It's a great opportunity for people to just pause and think about, wow, I did that.
Okay.
That was a big deal. That was a big deal, and I broke through a barrier that I never thought I could break through.
Yeah.
But getting back to Carrie's point too about, and the whole question of kids and what are they learning and what are they missing out on, the whole question of boundaries, I think, is a really important one. And, you know, boundaries can have a negative connotation, but boundaries equal safety.
Yeah.
And certainty, and I think it's what we're lacking in the world now, is that's that sense of certainty. Like, what's next year going to be like?
Yeah.
Given the rate of change and the fact that so many people aren't coping anymore.
That's
and
right.
you know, what's writing a book got to do with it? Well, it's that time that you give yourself, that time of reflection, and that ability to write a really crappy sentence. That's fine, no problem. And why would you agonise about having to get everything right when someone like me, that's what I do for a living, and I can do it really quickly and easily, and I actually love doing that. That's the part of my business I love the most.
For you, in terms of your business, it's like, you know, when you offer that service, it comes across very fluid for you. But Darren was asking before, if someone might think, well, I do want to write or leave a legacy behind, but it sounds so challenging, it's so complicated. So what would be your advice for those out there who's listening to maybe to let them know that it's not that complicated, reach out to you and start somewhere?
Well, start somewhere, but literally even before you reach out to me, just have a bit of a go at it and prepare yourself for it's okay if it doesn't sound great. Why would it sound great? You know, we speak, we're comfortable with speaking, but writing, and that sort of goes back to some of Carrie's territory with our experience at school, and we get sort of put in boxes. No, you're not a word person. You're a numbers person, or you know, any other ways that we could be convinced that we have to do one thing really well.
Okay.
Versus being able to try a whole lot of things and being okay about not being great at everything.
And that's Carrie's catchphrase, give it a red hot shot. That's your whole catchphrase.
Well, I just was thinking then, as Jane said that, I went, that's it. It's the crunch that we've got to be perfect. We can't be perfect.
We're human, right?
Yeah, we're human. And you just have to be you and be okay with being you. And if you don't know, you know others that do. So you circle yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And that's what I found. This whole thing about getting to know yourself. I mean, sometimes that's why women get to this age and they go,
who am I? I'm lost.
Well, it happens, but we're all on P plates, as far as I'm concerned. We're all on P plates. We're still progressing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're still becoming, and I love that. Yeah, that's good. And it's quite freeing. And I think, you know, Jane is a wonderful book coach, and she helped us with Global Matters. And we're writing another one at the moment, and it's about leadership for the future and what I think the world needs now and what we can use. So we've got, you know, there's plenty of things there, but people still want a book.
Yeah. So what do the world need right now, Carrie? What do you think? What do you think the world need right now?
We need people who are self-responsible.
I love that. I love that, yeah.
We want people who will connect in lots of different networks, and we've got that at our fingertips. It's just within a nanosecond now, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I can go to India in the middle of the day, I can be in London in the morning, I can do whatever.
So true.
And the last one is we do have to harness technology. Now, we've been great at using our phones. Yeah. Over the years, we're all up to date with streaming and whatever. But now we've got the fastest challenge going on. So how do we use that with responsibility? And the other thing we all need, I think, is a big dose of how do you want to be treated? That's how you treat others.
That's a good idea. So Jane, tell us, what do the world need right now? Read more books?
Well, that wouldn't hurt, and just more awareness. I think, much to Carrie's point too. Just some awareness of that we're actually blessed to be alive.
So true.
In this particular time, it may feel challenging, but we're only here because we can handle it. You know, and I think, just I think awareness and really tapping into connection. because there's nothing quite like it. You know, sitting in a room here with 4 people, well, 3 and myself, feels so much different than being at my laptop and tapping away. And that's why I often go to my local library, Marrickville Library. Fantastic
I love
space
that place.
because
They renovated it. It's beautiful.
Isn't it the best?
Yes.
I tell you what, their poached chicken sandwich isn't too bad.
Their coffee is quite nice.
Yeah. So we do have our ulterior motives.
Yes.
But the fact is, then you're with a whole bunch, and they're all sorts of ages, Carrie.
Yeah.
Lots of little kids.
Yeah.
You know, all sorts of, and after school time, you see the kids coming in, and I think, isn't that fantastic? They're going, even if they're just going to goof off, they're going into a place that's full of knowledge.
I like that. What I've noticed though, right, is that a lot of libraries these days don't have books no more in there. They don't have a small selection of books. The rest is...
That's right, it's computer screens.
It's computer screens and this and that. And I think, what a shame. Because when I was growing up, I used to go into those fantasy history books and read about the world. It takes me to another place. And I think that's one thing that I think that this generation is missing out on.
Right. You know what's great? The State Library. Have you ever gone to the State Library?
They're renovating at the moment.
Oh my God, it's like a whole mountain of books. It's like in the movies.
Yes.
Really cool.
Yes.
So, Dolly girl, tell me, Darren. So tell me, what does the world need right now?
Well, I was actually going to ask Jane that because...
I already asked her that, so I was asking you.
I'm asking Jane, how do you train creativity?
Oh,
well, I don't think it's about training creativity. I think it's about finding it in yourself.
Yeah.
So again, that thing of being told, well, you're not the creative one, you're the logical one.
Yeah.
That's right, because we're all creative, really.
Exactly.
we just had it squashed out of us.
That's right.
You know, as we start to get stereotyped.
That's right. I
as
think
we live.
Picasso said that when we were young. We're all born creative, but we just stop utilising that part of us.
Have you seen that YouTube clip of Sir Ken Robinson?
No.
No, I haven't.
You've got to get on. All you need to do is put Sir Ken Robinson.
Yeah.
He's now gone to heaven, or wherever he is, but he was advocate for education, but for creativity and for not squashing out or selecting. Do you know that young girls, even at the age of 10, are already stereotyped into what roles they'll do?
That's true.
Yeah.
And anyone who's interested in engineering or STEM or whatever, parents have actually got to start earlier to influence. And we need women in science.
Correct, for sure.
In any field.
Correct.
But I was just thinking when Jane was talking about the poached chicken sandwich and and you said the coffee, Davey.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that trip to the library is actually a well-being strategy. Let's think about it.
That's true.
You're walking to get there, even if it's up the stairs
That's
and you
right.
park the car, but you may have caught the bus or
Unless
you've
you
been
take an
outside,
Uber.
or an Uber. All right. So you're around other people, right? You're seeing other people. You're not isolated. You've got access to resources, and they can be historical. You can be fantasy books. They can take you back to ancient Egypt or
That's
Rome
correct.
or whatever. You've got food. The chicken sandwich obviously is good. I've had coffee there as well. It is sensational.
Wow.
So it's a facility for you to feel safe and work in.
Yeah.
Now think about that. There's about 5 different things that are part of that strategy.
Which is good. So, I guess that's why now the libraries are tending to do a lot of this now. Cafe, you have a space for music, so they're trying to cater for everyone. So that's good.
But the
That's
interesting
innovation.
the interesting thing is about that's all great. But the people, are they social when they're in the library, or do they stick to themselves?
Well, there's groups for kids in the like you can see different groups, but the other thing I was just thinking about, it's also an elder showing someone young a way that they can be quite content with themselves and not be entertained
That's
all
correct.
the time. So there's lots of bits here we could really think about.
Okay.
But it's true.
Let's hold their thoughts. Let's get another song on. You are tuning in with a 3 Quirks Turk 89.3. Carrie and Jane. It sounds like a bloody comedy show. Carrie and Jane and the 2 Stooges here. So, ladies, you having fun?
We are.
You
You
bet.
having fun? I love that. A lot of people come into the studio, right, and they get very nervous. And then after the show finished, they don't want to go home. They want to stay. And I'm like, is that with you too? I'm getting that vibe at the moment. I'm getting that vibe. So let's talk about business now, right? If people want to reach out to you, say, Carrie, look, what do they need to do? Do you have a social handles that they can reach out to you?
Oh, it's on the back of
Yeah,
my
I do.
phone.
On your
Got a
phone.
QR code.
QR code.
I have a QR code on
Yeah.
the back of my phone. It's
very
my
clever.
business card. You guys have got to get one.
Yeah, no, I like that. I
Yeah,
like that's a
yeah.
good idea.
Very cool.
No, I'm very fortunate. I'm very easy to find. So it's
I thought you meant I'm very easy.
I'm easy to find,
Okay,
Davey.
I get it.
No, easy to find. Carrie Benedet, and
Yes.
it's CARRIE.
Okay.
BENEDET, that's me. And you'll
Beautiful.
find me like that on the website, on LinkedIn, on
love
Instagram, on Facebook.
Where
Love
did
that.
you get your QR code from? That's a cool idea.
Well, I have the best person who
Oh,
looks
here we go.
after all my digitals and whatever,
Yes.
Scarlett Vespa.
Okay.
And she's based in Southern Highlands.
Okay.
And God bless her, I have learnt so much from her in the last six years.
Wow.
Fantastic. So you've got to circle yourself with the right people.
No, definitely.
You know that.
Definitely.
You both know that.
You have to. You have to. But let's touch base on this Thrive
Yes.
program. Share with us and our listeners what is so unique about Thrive, and why should people reach out to you to be able to work with you?
Well, thriving isn't easy. And how we look at that affects the way we have our relationships, or how they look, how we do our work, how we actually live,
Yeah.
basically, our whole well-being. So we need to know ourselves so we can lead others.
Yeah.
So even if you're in a family, I mean, I believe we're all leaders in the making.
Yep.
We're works in progress at the same time, and we're all looking for something to contribute to. We all like to know we've got a little bit of an impact.
Yeah.
And for me, there's an abundance of everything if we treat each other well.
Yeah.
But we also can share. So thriving for me, anything I talk about usually has this word thrive. So,
Yeah.
you know, even my little mantra, give it a red hot shot, basically means have a go. Have a go. Get people around you who are good. So we've got a Thriving Leader workshop program, and I love it because we're really looking at, very simply, 5 A's. The 5 accountabilities, I could call them, or
Okay.
the 5 aces up your sleeve.
And what are they? What are the 5 A's?
Right. Awareness of self and others.
Okay.
Then we have authenticity. How genuine are you? Does your performance, your actions, do that back up what you say?
Yeah.
Right.
On and off the field.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's true. Because
On
when the
and off.
camera's rolling, everyone's on the best
That's
version,
right.
right? But the camera's off, the nasty
it.
comes
When you're all
out.
fighting for the food at the end of the day,
Correct.
it's a different story.
So awareness, authenticity, agility, how agile we can be, accountability. We've got to be accountable to ourselves and others, and that can show up in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
And alliance. We need to be connected to
Yeah.
people, and how we do that. And so that's the 5 A's of the Thriving Leader program.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
And if I can ask, Carrie, what's your secret sauce in how you facilitate this program? What makes you different in how you facilitate this than other leadership programs out there?
Heart-centred. I'll walk and talk with anyone anywhere around the world, and I've proven that. I'm a Kokoda girl.
Yeah.
I did it to give thanks for the children that I had in a free, being able to bring them up in a free country. But I believe in people. I believe in a second chance. I believe in chances to develop.
Nice.
I believe in being able to be graceful in how you speak to people and work with them, but also gritty. So bring that grit and grace together. And it's not easy. Not everyone likes that. I still rebel against a few things, so I will stand in truth these days. Yeah.
So why grind or hustle? Where does that come from?
Grind or hustle?
Yeah. I read somewhere on your social that Leadership with Thrive program is not about the grind or the hustle. Is it because you feel that people need to be allocated to the 5 A's and put their hearts and soul into it? It's not just a grind, it's just a hustle. You do that because you're passionate about that?
Well, I can challenge that and say I believe in abundance for everybody. So the grind and the hustle, if you think about it, you're grinding away, you're hustling people, you're probably not showing up as well as you could. You're taking money where you shouldn't perhaps. But I believe in how do you do that with a heart in place. So heart-centred or human-centred behaviours. I'm a big believer in emotional intelligence and how we can develop that. And awareness of others, authenticity, emotional reasoning, how we make decisions, how we inspire performance in ourselves and others, it's huge. So EI is a big deal for me, and I wish I'd known it when I was bringing up those licorice all sorts.
Love it.
So Jane Turner, is very challenging these days. It's not really challenging. You specialise in an area where people adapt to reading books, be able to put their thoughts and mind and dream into writing, right? And this is something that I think it's a very unique service that will never go away. I mean, these days you can use AI technology to write ChatGPT, all that bloody rubbish, but I still feel that it's losing that human connection. And this is where your expertise come in. So share with us and our listeners what is so unique about your service and why people should reach out to utilise your service and your expertise.
What's so unique about it is, I guess, the meanness. So I come from a place where I spent my whole working life up to the age of 52 working in the public service. So I was essentially institutionalised. Being made redundant, this is 10 years ago now, at a time like that, it wasn't so easy for women like me whose confidence had been shattered to get another job. So I applied for stacks of jobs, didn't get any. I'd started writing a book a little bit previously because I had imagined that I might go out and be a little more independent when I got my daughter through year 12. But the universe had a different plan, and she was 14 when I was made redundant. So I just had to really pull my finger out, finish that first book that I'd started, and then see what would happen. And, a really seminal moment for me was when I was standing on stage launching that book, and I hadn't planned to do this, but I was looking at my 14-year-old daughter and her 14-year-old friends that she'd brought along because she was so proud of her mum. And I said, what I want you girls to know is there is nothing so broken, so shameful, or so unlovable about you that you can't tell someone about it and know that they'll still love you and remind you to love yourself.
Beautiful.
And you know what it was about that is that it was the 14-year-old girl inside of me who had to hear that the most. And in that moment of truth, Carrie, you say, step into your truth. That moment of truth for me was a blinding insight about the fact that I hadn't been put on this earth to help women through the midlife phase, even though I'd just written a book about it and put the foundations down to build a coaching practice around that book, but that I'd been put on this earth to help people to do that, to share their stories, because there is nothing more powerful in the space of human connection than sharing our stories. So I kind of have that legacy of the 5 years and over $30,000 invested in various writing programs and what have you. I have that to share with people because that was my hero's journey. Hero's journey is your ultimate storytelling tool. That was my hero's journey. It's not the journey of the authors who come to me. They come to me because I make it easy for them to get their books out there. Their journey may be about starting a speaking career. It may be about any number of things, but the fact that I get to witness their transformation through the sharing of their words that I just feel truly blessed for.
Tell us a bit about your state library event.
Well, yes. So, of course, 10 years in business, the business evolves, thank God. So I started off just helping people write the books. Then, because of the fact that I had a couple of, my first two books, I had a little bit of a rough trot with the way they were published. And, for example, about a year after I finished my first book, Thrive in Midlife, I had the publisher get in touch with me and say that they'd be happy to sell me my rights back for $500.
Nice.
Now, I actually didn't even know I didn't have my rights. So, this, I don't want people tripped up like that.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
want people paying too much money. I don't want them going through the ringer just to get their book published. So I opened up the publishing wing of my business then.
Okay.
A little bit down the road, off the back of that first book of mine, because I had to really get out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for an introverted person like me who had stayed in the public service their whole working life for a good reason, because they didn't want the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
However, I got an email in my inbox one day from the organisers of the Women's Economic Forum saying that one of their members had just read my book and recommended I come and speak at one of their events. And I wound up on a stage in India that over 2,000 women attended the forum.
God.
Love that.
So, but do you know what I love more, though?
What's that?
Is not that I had that experience, although it was somewhat life-changing, I have to admit, the fact that I can send all of my authors on those trips as well. So I've had authors speaking in Los Angeles at those events, in Cairo, in Indonesia, certainly in India, which is the main hub of the spot.
Yes.
But there was that. But I digress a little bit because the next part of my business that I started was about helping authors to promote their books.
Would that be a challenge these days?
Well,
to promote your books, sales?
not if you know how. You see, off the back of my first book again, I've got full page coverage in the Australian Women's Weekly, Prevention Magazine, Wellbeing Magazine. I was on the 7:30 Report, Today Extra, the House of Wellness TV shows.
Right,
and
there's a few there, Darren. Hey.
So I can help my authors from that point
I
of
better
view as
start
well.
writing my book now.
Yeah.
Yep. But now then, the fourth iteration of my business, and I can now answer your question, Darren, is that I realised that a lot of my authors, especially the ones who are coaches and consultants, so they really want to build a business and a business profile off the back of the book, they often want to go into the speaking arena. So I run author showcase events at the State Library of New South Wales where those authors will get, and Carrie was one of them, get 20 minutes of footage with the State Library signage clearly visible.
Oh,
so
that's good.
if they want to send something to speaker bureaus to get a foot in the door, footage like that will do it.
Good branding.
So, yes, exactly.
And it's videoed, photographed. all that stuff.
Yeah, all of that
And
stuff.
it's an easy segue. It's comfortable because you've got someone guiding you along the way. Yeah. Priceless.
So you've gone through that process, Carrie. So share with us what Jane is saying. During that process, was there any part of that process that you feel like, I can't do this, I just don't want to do it, I want to quit?
No.
No?
No.
You love
No.
that, yeah?
No, I was interested in if I would recognise that I was speaking in a better way, if I made sense in a large group, because I'd been so focused on getting the book done, and then wanted to do it. And I'd asked a whole lot of family and friends, and they all showed up. It was like this massive thing. It was beautiful, but the most amazing thing really for me was people who know me very well, who came up and put their hands on my shoulders and said, and looked me, we want you to listen, Carrie. We want you to listen. That was the best we have heard you speak.
Oh, wow.
And I went, okay, that's so it's great feedback when you set yourself up for a little bit of success, but also some challenge.
Correct. Correct. So besides helping people who actually, or future leaders and authors, right? I know that safe argument's sake, I'm only 30 years old, so I've got 30 years ahead of me, right? So where would I start to put my information down? I mean, that's 30 years information in a book. Can you share with us what process or what they need to do to make notes to start the journey as an author?
Yeah, look, and of course people have got different agendas in terms of the kind of book they're wanting to write, but you sit down and you think about who is the person you want to be reading that book, and think about that person. What do they need to hear? What are they going to care about? And how can I connect with them through the written word? So that's a good place to sort of just interrogate the whole purpose initially. Yeah. And then, you're just thinking about, okay, well, if I was to break this up into 8 chapters, what would they be? And you just start nutting out some information. Remember to include stories. It doesn't have to be all factual. And you'll get to a stage where you've got some stuff on a page, but you think it doesn't sound good, it doesn't flow well, and frankly, why would it?
Yes.
You know, I had $30,000 invested in learning how to make that happen.
Okay.
And now I've got 10 years of experience as well. So why would you try and go it alone? And even, you know, the best writers in the world have editors at the very least. If you don't want to go down the full ghostwriting side of it, you're going to have an editor, and don't underestimate the amount of work that an editor would love to put into your rough work.
And actually, to take that one step further, I know that you help people actually get their books in audio version as well.
I do,
because that's another whole ballgame.
Yeah.
It's really tricky to do that.
Yes, no, I have a wonderful woman called Maria Saris who, you know, will do the audiobook version for you. And as a matter of fact, in 3 weeks' time, I'll be doing the audiobook of my 5th book, which is I've called it The Ripple Effect.
Yeah.
And the subtitle says it all, though, How to Write a Book That Changes Lives.
Love that.
And that will be on audio sometime in the not-too-distant future.
I love that. You guys are tuning in with the 3 Quirks and Turk 89.3.